Hi, Aries. Excuse me. Welcome to this place, and welcome back if you're returning. So, a few little things before we jump in your cards. Aries. This is the third time I'm attempting your reading. So maybe number 3, or something's, because when we get to 3s, it's like, it either creates the Trinity, right, which is a really beautiful, solid structure, or it creates like 3 strikes, you're out. And I do sense, because of the previous messages, it's like, we're all going through stuff big and small, and whatever you're working through in this time frame or recently, I pray that you find solace and some kind of peace in yourself, so that there's no like impulsive decisions, and again, I see, so you can find some peace, making decision from that peaceful place. And I feel like in this time frame, I feel like it would just be wise to, hi bird, to kind of, if you can, be as chill as possible. I will say, like, my mood before the reading makes a little bit of a difference, and I was kind of like, I was a little tired when I got up. I felt a little unrested. I couldn't sleep last night. That's why, lots of thoughts maybe in the evening. This is also like thoughts about feelings, like thoughts in the moon. But if you can in this time, try to do this every once in a while, where it's kind of like, I feel like you want to like pull your knees in towards your chest, if you can. It helps the digestive system. It helps also, just like, this is Capricorn and Virgo energy, so it's like working through internal blocks. Maybe some of your knees hurt. There's some Capricorn's your square, so, and what do we usually associate knees with? Like getting low, right? Or praying. Right, something about there are many ways to kiss the earth, right? Alright, Aries. Let's open up your cards, huh? And see what's going on. It was just 3 minutes. Perfect. Alright, Aries, let's see. Okay, cutting through. Good. The Scarlet Woman. The Phoenix. Wow, so here's some pretty strong scorpionic lesson. So, could feel very soulful. This is Pisces and Scorpio. I want to, like, my sun and my moon. Okay. Aries, please remember that the eclipse season, so from about your birthday, April, good morning, until October, that 6-month period is going to be super sensitive, especially for those of you who have personal stars in Aries, right? Sun, moon, Venus, etc. And there will be changes, because this connects. The nodes are also shift in these places, talking about our relationships to ourselves and to other people, whether presently or in the deep in the past, okay? And I saw someone's grandfather taking up arms. Okay, so you're strong enough to, whatever it is you're trying to cut through and figure out. This has to do with the turtle. I saw a turtle on the way to run an errand before. When I was thinking about you, I was like, I'm not going to do it right now because I know I'm in a mood. Like, I'm not going to talk right now because I know I'm in a particular mood. And so I went and kind of tried to shift my energy and do some things I needed to do. And I saw this little baby turtle, and here's a little turtle here too. So maybe that animal could be helpful. Then we have chameleon. Pearls before swine. So there's a lot of animals here. High tension. and asylum. Okay, so we have a horse, a pig, like a lizard, a turtle. These are your animals. Give me just a second to tune in. It's 11:11 exactly. I smoked. I've been keeping track of my habits a little bit. Like when I'm like craving something, and like when I am doing something, when I actually participate with it. Okay. Aries, where do we start? Oh, I forgot to mention, in the center you have the magic carpet. So your heart is like transporting to another place. It wants you to cut through something emotional. That has to do, for some of you, this could have to do with an angry woman. And maybe those who have showed you, like they showed you one thing with one hand, but they were doing something with another hand. So this is distrust. You're cutting through lies and anger. And I heard anger lies at the heart of someone. Oh, there's so many. There's the anger. What did we just say? The anger lies at the heart of someone. So for somebody, this is sitting in their heart, and it's making it heavy. It's making it just constantly like bleed out. You know, it's like a wound that'll never heal. Maybe it's Chiron. And then there's also anger lies at the heart, which I suppose is realizing that like love is the most powerful feeling. It's the most productive, creative feeling. Love. Right? And I suppose sometimes anger, wherever this comes from, it's like maybe angry people. Let's talk about it. These talks are real, and this time I guess they always are. But an angry person or a defensive person or someone that wasn't truthful said something to you. Said many things to you that interrupted your ability to just be all that you are. And I feel like you're also something's also wanting to cut through that. Oh, I forgot to mention, before your reading too, after I got back and saw the turtle, I was feeling again, the mood got better, then it got, so it may be a little moody in this time with this Piscean card, right? The sea goes in, the sea goes out, right? Look at this chameleon's face. It's like, But I sang like a song. It was almost like, it felt like a sailor's song. It was like, do, you know. And actually the beginning of it was just singing in a really silly way, and I don't even have a good voice for that. It's like about the little things. Like I was just like about my legs and my arms and my abilities and what's the little things that are had, right? And an acknowledgement also of what is being let go of and what is being wanted, right? Because we have to surrender to receive, right? Maybe some of you need a hug, like a real hug too. Like not a tap hug, like a hug that's like, you know, when you can just feel it. It's like different. It's always different between a real hug and a fake hug, between reality and falsehood, right? Okay. Let's see here. What's up? What else is going on? Give me a second to tune in. It's like it went somewhere else. Whatever that conversation is, maybe that's the main conversation. Oh, I see. There's a lot going on around someone. Are the people that you hang around happy, sad? What kind of I heard, what do they do with their money? Like, do they deal with problems? What's important to them? These are questions for you too, of course, but I feel like it almost doesn't matter in this time, Aries, what's going on around you. It's like you have to focus on whatever you're cutting through. Let's read this card. It's number 49. I don't know if that's an age for someone. Oh, I thought about, what was that too? Is it 9 years ago? Okay. It says, act in a decisive and conclusive manner upon all problems of thought which inhibit clarity. Use wisdom, right thinking, and your means, right action, to achieve liberation from any such problems. And do not be afraid to eliminate concepts which are without any practical value. Now, as this is at the top of the reading, in this deck, they kind of break it down like a body. So, Aries is the head, and it's up here. So, this is you going through a breakthrough, not necessarily someone else. Other people could be, but that's not the point. It's about your learning or your changing, right? This phoenix. It says here, when in this head space, it represents a spiritual breakthrough, which is preparing the ground for real commitment. It says, if in relation to a problem, this indicates a resolution and an attainment of goals. So what are you desiring? What are you wanting in this time, right? And I feel like, although the practical, again, that's important. We're in Taurus time. You want to look at your money. You want to look at home. You want to look at your relationships. You want to look at what you have and what you need and what you no longer need to have, right? And again, I see, sit back and like just kind of take stock of where that's at, and then come all the way back around into you. Because I really feel like there's something here there's something like after this happens, it's like there's a complete, like, someone's like mind blown. You know, there's like this crazy epiphany where someone finally figures out like what's important and like when to speak and when not to speak and when to, like, this wouldn't be a time to necessarily like be tough, I mean, you want to hold it together, meaning don't fall apart. But I heard you don't have to, right, when Aries, let's talk about it for a second. When Aries, or any fire energy, Sag, Leo, Aries, when the fire doesn't feel like deal with the water at all, what happens is, because you're fire, it just evaporates everything, and a person becomes like a desert. Or they attract people that have no feelings, which could be like sociopaths, or just really unempathetic people, or they're fake empathetic, or whatever. It's like, and then you become, a fire energy can become numb and think to themselves, well, I don't, because this Scorpio energy means no water. There's no water in Scorpio. It's a desert. But this Pisces is all water, but it's water everywhere, not a drop to drink. It's like, no matter which way, unless it's addressed, whatever we're talking about here, because someone wants to be soothed, right? Fresh water. They want to be soothed. Understood? And this is cleansing too, so I guess an exercise in this time that could be helpful is, whatever needs to be practically handled, handle it. I know most of you are workaholics, always busying yourself. That's another way to not deal with feelings. Always doing, TV on, cell phone, Instagram, whatever, all the things, right? Working, projects, smoking, drinking, keeping things busy, right? So try as you may to also just be like quiet with yourself. And I know for some of you, when you go there, it's not going to feel great. Like when there's no sound and there's nobody around. But you know what happens when that happens is when a person, gives themselves that space for some reason, and recognizes, like, okay, because Aries is I surrender. You stop fighting yourself so much about trying to fight something, right? Life is not meant to be a fight. It's not. And this is peacetime right now. I feel like, because all the people that are around you are kind of passive. It's almost like you're stronger than them. But what happens when you feel weak? What happens when you feel tired? Who takes care of you? And when you acknowledge, again, this weakness, this vulnerable place, what happens is love returns into, and what is love? In the tarot, they show it usually as water, right? As above, so below. It's like the Ace of Cups is this beautiful, clean cup and clean water that's just replenishing and nourishing the earth, right? Nourishing things so it can grow. I heard, instead of burning the town down. So that's what happens. So this magic carpet, I guess this could represent travel for some of you. Some of you, this could even be overseas, or at very least, it could be a far distance. At some point or another, I guess this could be over the next couple months for some of you. This also just shows me a change in a place, right? In an environment. But because it's next to the turtle, this isn't a process that can be like, boop, whatever you're dealing with, it's not something that can be solved quickly, right? If you're on the edge of the ocean, you go to the vanishing point, you even swim all the way there to the vanishing point. When you're there, there's just another vanishing point. So, I heard there's no need to rush anything. Now, I feel like whatever it is that you do figure out for yourself, what you're working through, it does relate to other people, but it's not necessarily meant to be like trying to explain something to somebody else, because I don't feel like that isn't the point of the lesson. The lesson is for you to figure out, so that then your actions and your means of going about what you want shift. And I suppose this could be making decisions that are less impulsive, I guess. We have solar return, which reminds me of an eclipse. So remember, over the next 5 months or so, look at this. We have well, this looks like a ruby, but this is a garnet too. So like a ruby and a garnet. So we're talking about Leo and Capricorn. So perhaps until August, there's something in the heart that's transforming. Venus goes retrograde then too, so maybe there's a lesson, again, that's learned between now and then. And I heard take advantage of the time to understand. I heard that life, like wherever, what was that thing? What did I just hear? Oh, I'm not supposed to say it. All right. What are you passionate about right now? But you want pure passion, okay? Not anger passion, not like lustful passion or greedy passion. It's, and maybe this is one of those things where this could be about support, because all these cards are kind of individual. The only one that's sort of dual here is this cutting through, which could represent two. So I heard, who's interested in what you do? Who is interested in what you do? I heard having feelings is not being a crybaby. Okay? Maybe some of you weren't allowed to, like, express yourself, or I'm seeing that thing where, when a kid's little and they're crying, and they're like, you better quit crying, I'll give you something to cry about. Just passing through an old memory there. Well, I heard that's not now. And I would also say that this could be a good time to be celibate for some of you. Like, because what you're trying to do is restore your body, or like restore some kind of, again, like energy within. Because if you're trying to, and we have the card of brainstorm. So, okay, if you start to get like, I heard the mind is like cray cray, it's like too fast or something. Maybe you should write. Write some ideas. Again, that kind of perspective, like, all right, what's going on with home, right? Maybe all the beautiful things you have with home. What are you grateful? You could do what gratitude could also soften this anger a little bit, because that's a bit of what that sailor's song was about. But I had to admit that I wasn't feeling good before I could get to the happiness. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes we got to get dirty to get clean. Do you know what I mean? So, because some of you might have like what some people might consider like a crazy idea, or I heard you want to be practical here. We're not trying to deal with illogical things, but Well, I heard nothing wrong with coming. It's just an idea. Oh, that was another thing. There's something, I want you to really think about what you've never done. What have you never done, Aries? I don't know if this has to do with relationships or work or a feeling or how you process something or how you deal with something or how you create something, how you leave, begin, or end something. I don't know. Like how have you never done something, right? What's that game? Never Have I Ever? Never Have I Ever. And I bet you've done a lot, right? And maybe for some, the never actually just has to do with what hasn't happened for a long time. And again, I see that it is possible for something to return. So I would take it day by day in this time. And if for some reason like your creativity isn't popping off, it's probably because you've already done a lot. And that would be when your creative expression isn't like got a lot of gusto around it, then remember that emotional shifting is even more magical than like changing who you are as a person or how you feel, or like I just saw like an operator like rewiring things. It's like that's almost more magical than, building. I saw someone building like with building blocks, physically speaking, because that can just be destroyed, right? But the internal invisible, once you know that in yourself, whatever this internal shifting is, and I do feel like for some of you, it's very soulful. Like it could feel like you're changing, like you're really changing as a person. And that's going to shift like what you're attracted to and your roads that you'll be walking on in the future. I heard it doesn't mean, I don't want you to burn any bridges though, or anything like that. I heard you don't want to leave out of sadness, but you do want to check in with what's growing or not. So remember, the internal creativity is just as creative as the external. For instance, how do you feel about what you've achieved in life thus far, right? Maybe you want to just take note of all the places you've been, or how many people you've dated, or if you've made children, or like, what are some inventions or like interesting ideas that you've come up with? What are the cool things you have created or learned about? Experiences you've worked through. Maybe you just want to take note. I feel like someone's really looking at the whole picture right now. And this is really cool, especially for those of you who aren't like, because this kind of happens usually later in life, right? We get more to the end of the line and then we start being like, but you can do that way before, right? Which then just makes the path till the end of this life anyway a little easier. I heard it ain't nothing wrong with that. Maybe that's exactly the thing. This Scarlet Woman is like, push, push, I'll burn the town down. No, this person is very spiteful. She's, and maybe for some of you, this is someone that you've been intimate with, this person. Or I heard someone made me this way. Survival. And here's a dry place. Who's hurt you, Aries? There's the ocean. There's Pisces and Scorpio. There's like a family thing or like a root chakra thing, which has to do with one's security. That's also something that's really important here. And I guess if you are feeling shaky, because again, this desert's too dry, right? Someone else talked about it. This one's too dry. And this one's too wet, right? Too hot, too cold. We want something that's just right, you know, and it needs to be that. It can't just be said, it has to be known. I heard you can do anything that you want, but you don't have to keep... don't forget to ask for help. And you know what the thing is? I feel like for some of you, although you have support all around you, it may feel like... You may feel like, oh, well, people are going through their own things. I don't want to, like, burden them. Someone's like, I don't want to burden them with something, so I'm not going to say anything. There is something that's being flushed out, okay, Aries? Yeah, you have all this Scorpio energy. Look at this serpent, If some of you are in a relationship, or you're processing an old relationship, however you connect that, I feel like Gemini's reading could be helpful. Because again, this is a big change. It's like a change of heart. It's a change of feeling. It's a shift in the soul. It's a change of mind. It's like, it feels, so for some of you, this is going to feel like overwhelming. Like those building blocks we talked about, it's like, pfft. But all that means is you get to, well, I heard, laugh at it, at least for now. Be like, wow, okay. Like, try as you may to find something, I heard, funny about this situation, right? Every rose has its thorn. Just like every cowboy, right? And I don't know what your spiritual space is, like what you deem to be your invisible means of support, but I feel like it would be helpful, new growth, yeah, to maybe understand that you really do have, there's a lot of security and support coming from other, it reminds me of Taurus, you know, it's like support in these other places, okay? And I feel like whatever you're looking for, you'll find it, but I would, again, I'd take your time with this little turtle, these pearls, I wouldn't, I guess this is Cancerian, I see Cancer, oh, it's all the water, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. And then I see Sag and Aries. So remember, it's an emotional time for you, and you're meant to find the center. And, you know, when Scorpio shows up strong in a reading to me, whether this is, again, what's going on within you, and you know, sometimes water signs come into our life, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, especially Scorpio people can come into our lives to help us to change. Yeah, but it's never easy, right? Because they represent death, like the graveyards, that which is buried under the earth, right? So yes. So again, remember what it's trying to do is go from that Scorpio into Leo, which is the heart. It's about love and your childhood, or sex, or what you want and why you want it, and just being, or why you've decided before. But it's really about what's important here is just pondering about what's going on now. The bridge back to the past will be epiphanies now and again when you allow that quiet space to tap in there. And this could even be like, you know, I don't know, just 3 minutes You know, set a timer for 3 minutes and lay down quietly somewhere, or sit quietly somewhere. Be comfortable. And with no sounds, and just feel for a second. Because I feel like that's going to help release, yes, it's going to help release something and help you to understand more about where you're going. And work through whatever's being cut through, right? Because this is, when it happens inside, then it happens outside. Okay. I love you so much. I hope this was helpful. Lastly, I recorded a whole bunch of extra readings. I know most of the fire likes to figure it out for themselves, but if you are over on Patreon, there's some pretty they're more in depth to this time frame, especially in relation to relationships and love and things of that nature. So if you're already part of it, then enjoy. And if you'd like to be a part of it or check those out for this time frame, if you join the Timeless Traveler tier, you get access to all the signs as well as everything else that's been up there for a month. And then from there, you can decide whether you want to stay or not and be a part of that circle. Okay? All right. Please take care of yourself. There was a Capricorn reading called Solve the Riddle, Uncover Your Heart. I'll try to remember that, or remind me, and I'll link it. If you can also search it that way under that name, because I really feel like that's what's happening right now. Okay, and I want you to know that you are safe and loved and protected in that. I heard don't ignore the darkness, and sometimes it may make you cry, but remember what it's trying to do is fill the cup so you can release, chill out that fire. Okay, so that you can actually relax, find some strong people in your life that are suiting, and where you don't have to, I don't know. Every rose has its thorn, just like every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. Every rose has its thorn. Peace out.